What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to my channel. My name is Isaac Moreno, and today I will be presenting my capstone project for Epicotus. The title of the project is Modern Fish. It's a web application where a user can go to get some of the most up-to-date and concise information that they can on a specific fish species in order to help them be able to go out onto the water and catch that fish with the right equipment, location, place, the whole 9 yards. Originally, I wanted to redirect individuals to the different fish and wildlife websites across the country, but then I realized that that would be very hard to scale with to begin with, so I just started with the fish that are in the state of Oregon. Also MVP, I wanted to explain how to set up a rig in a more modern way versus when you go to specific websites or images like a rig setup for salmon, you'll generally get like a PDF document or like a Word document with photos, and sometimes they're poorly drawn, sometimes they're nicely drawn, but I still thought that there was a better way to do it. The other thing that I wanted for my minimal viable product originally was just an about page where I would explain what the purpose of the site was and some stuff on fishing culture, such as like catch and release and leaving no trace behind when you go out and recreate. So originally, my stretch goal was to have a database with information on the specific months of the year that specific fish were running through specific rivers. So it was kind of tying a bunch of information together, and I wanted to curate it on a table so it was pretty easily digestible. Another thing that I wanted to include was information on location, time of day, water height, and seasonality as to when and where you would go to catch said fish. And then the other stretch goal that I wanted to incorporate was knot tutorials, so probably providing 6 good quality knots that individuals would be able to reuse over and over again for a lot of different fishing situations. I didn't want to use Redux. I wanted to use Firestore as my database, and I wanted to use hooks instead of class components, so things that we hadn't necessarily covered, so I had to do a lot of exploring and reading beforehand just to get that functionality going. I originally started with creating a drop-down menu that had the name of every single state in America that would link you to the Firestore database with its corresponding Department of Fish and Wildlife website where you would originally get your license. But again, I decided to scale that down and only focus on Oregon, so I scrapped that pretty soon. I decided to do some more whiteboarding. I realized that I only had necessarily 1 or 2 components that I would be using, and I didn't think it was enough to develop a full web app given everything else that I wanted. So I looked to Next.js and their website to get some inspiration, and I thought maybe I can base this off of their documentation where we have the navigation bar on the left and we have the content on the right with a header, and I thought this could be a very clean, modern way to display this information. But then the thing that was probably the biggest wall I faced throughout the course of the project was that I wasn't able to display the Firestore document field information into my lower component. So then I thought maybe Firestore isn't the way to go. So then I looked at some videos on Express.js and thought, this is cool. I'd consider this as a backend in the future, but it's not something that I want to pursue now given how much time I spent seeding the Firestore database. And then from there, I thought, okay, maybe I'll look into Amazon Web Service, and very quickly found that they have 6 different database services. And I was like, nope, that's a really deep rabbit hole that I'm not gonna go down today. Finally, after talking to another instructor and just having some really quick banter about like what the issue was going on, he had mentioned passing down the entire object and not just the ID, because that was the only thing I was getting back. And then it just dawned on me, potentially after just having enough of a break, where let me change 3 lines of code or 3 words, and everything started working. So I was able to get it displaying how I wanted to, and then from there I decided to add a table with the license information to basically end the project and kind of have a good place to bounce off of. I got to learn more about hooks, which is pretty cool. I think they're really useful. I definitely like them a lot more than class components. It's really simple. It feels very readable because I'm able to just separate all the class into these different hooks, which is great. It felt really nice to come back to props and get a deeper understanding of them and how they work within React, and just passing down functions to the child components versus trying to pass them over to their siblings made a lot more sense after the fact. I got to briefly read about dynamic routing. That was something that I thought would be cool to do depending on the fish that was selected within the sidebar, but I never got to implementing it, not yet at least. The last two lessons that I'll say I pulled away from this whole experience was a reminder and patience. I had to be kind to myself and say, hey, it's okay that I haven't solved this in the past 3 days. Like, I will get there, and I did. But it definitely did test my patience versus solving it within a day or even a couple of hours, generally when I'm pair programming. The last takeaway was that it's okay to ask for help. You live and you learn, you know? I was trying to challenge myself, and I definitely did, and overall it was a super good experience. And yeah, this is Modern Fish. Thank you so much for having me, and hope you have a great rest of your day. So what is it? This is this is my Modern Fish pitch.